All right, dude. Have you seen Snow White's IMDb rating?
It's under 2, right?
It's a 1.5 on IMDb.
I think that this is just review bombing in its most insane fashion. It's kind of ridiculous. There's no way it's a 1-star movie.
It can't be a 1.
I actually want to check it out. I think it's probably a lot better than people think it is, or people are saying. And just to hate on a movie just because it exists, I don't like review bombing. You know, it's really started the last like 5-10 years. You see a movie come out, there's a battle between the audiences, and it's a 1-star versus 10-star ratings. I think most of these review bombings, it goes both ways.
Yes, it does.
It's not just 1-stars, the 10-star ones as well, where a movie that's not as good as people are saying, but they love the IP or something, and it's getting 10-star ratings. It's like, that's not a 10-star movie.
It's overinflated, yeah.
Exactly. So I think that review bombing is getting a little out. Obviously, it's not a little out of hand. It's out of hand. 1.8.
Yeah. The letterboxes looks like a better metric. It's like a 2.5. That seems believable. But no, I mean, there's no way that movie's a 1.5 out of 10. It's like, it can't be that bad.
It can't be. I mean, the visual effects, from what I've heard, look really good. And I mean, some of the visual effects look awesome to me in a lot of ways. And I mean,
also, it's a kid's movie.
It's a musical,
guys.
Kid's movie.
It's
It's a princess movie. You know,
I'm not going to watch it, though.
I get the rage baiting, especially a lot of content out there on YouTube. Movie content is rage baiting. TV content, you know, you see it consistently in the thumbnails that the algorithm sends you. And it's just, guys, it's a movie about a princess singing in a magical world. It's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Also, you don't have to watch it.
You don't have to.
I
mean, they make a ton of money.
Yeah,
they get a lot of views.
Yeah, the rage content. It's like complaining and moaning about things you're not even gonna watch that aren't even really made for you. It's silly to me.
Well,
I'm just not. It's a movie. I'm not gonna watch it.
Especially because most people that are doing that, they make their opinion up before they see the movie.
Yeah.
For a year, they're breaking it down and like how much I'm gonna hate, or how much they're not gonna like, and how bad it's gonna be. It's like you haven't even seen the movie yet, and you're talking about how bad it is.
Build up that hate for you over the years.
Hate sells. I mean, you know, I think Facebook realized that, Twitter realized that, social media, hate sells. People love it and they get fueled by it.
We don't promote hate on this show.
Yeah, we want everyone to enjoy movies and have a good time.
If you
in
like
the theater.
Snow White, that's great.
I mean, it is what it is. I haven't seen it yet, but there's no way.
It can't be a 1.5.
It's a 1.5.
Can't be. It can't be.
It's just absurd.
Yeah.
To take the time out of your day to go review bomb a movie.
An IMDb rate. It's tough to leave a review on IMDb.
You gotta make it account.
It has to be 500 words.
You have to make an account.
500 an account 500 word minimum. I read some of the reviews. It's crazy. It's like
Relax.
Worst movie ever. It can't be the worst movie ever. It can't be.
It's definitely not the worst movie ever.
It can't be.
There's no 100% chance it's not the worst movie ever.
There's no way. I'm sure a lot of the kids who saw it loved it.
I bet people had a really good time, and it is what it is. You know, that's the state of movie audiences when it comes to being online. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of bias. There's a lot of review bombing. We try to avoid it.
Yeah, I do my best.
You know, it's something that's sort of been in the background of my head of one of my all-time favorite movies that I've never really thought about it too much until recently.
Tell me.
So we love Alien, right?
Yeah.
We have the Alien poster, which is a classic poster. It's the white framed portrait of the egg glowing with the crack in it, the green neon crack with some smoke coming out, and then in front of the egg on the surface, it seems like the surface of an alien planet, right?
Yes.
Have you ever had a problem with that isn't the egg in the movie?
Yeah, it's a different egg.
It's an actual chicken egg.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's because the poster might have been made before production, and it's an artist who made the poster on his own. And he made, for example, the ground the egg is resting on is made out of brownies. It's just a pan of brownies that he made. So that cracked brown dirt, it's actually like, you can eat that. It's brownie mix. And the egg, yeah, like you said, it's a chicken egg. I'm sure they could have just been working not in tangent, separate, even on separate continents. It could have been like an American artist, and they're in the UK, or you know what I mean.
The cool thing about it as well, I have some details about it.
Oh yeah,
it was made during test shots before the movie was ever filmed.
Okay,
and during production for the film, 130 eggs were actually created for the egg chamber scene. Fun fact. But there was that singular egg that was the hero egg. Even Ridley Scott is putting his hand inside of it. So they did make 130 of those xenomorph facehugger eggs, which is cool. Sorry, facehugger eggs. But for me, it's one of those things where your brain doesn't care. You don't care that it's not the same egg from the movie, And it works. It just works because I think the mood it creates, the tone it sets for whatever movie this alien movie is going to be. And I feel like, especially in those early marketing campaigns back in the day where you didn't have much to do, there wasn't no internet. You couldn't send out mass information to people outside of posters, trying to spark something, magazines, maybe some newspapers, stuff like that, commercials if you can afford them. And I think the poster itself makes the movie so enticing and so mysterious because of this egg and this cracking egg. And they probably hadn't settled on the design for the facehugger eggs and what it was going to look like at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like the egg in the movie, but yeah, you're right. I don't give a shit.
It's just always been one of those things for me where it's just like, I don't care. And I never thought about it really too hard until recently.
You were in the living room just staring at our poster.
I was just
You were just like staring. You're like, wait a second. Wait a second.
No, it's not that I never not noticed it. It's just that I finally noticed to care.
Yeah.
Like, I've always known it's obviously not the same egg.
Who'd have thought a poster with an egg on it would be so powerful?
I know, right?
It's just an egg.
It was a crack. And the crack, that's not even relevant to the movie either.
Yeah, the green crack.
The green neon cracking light.
It's Predator's blood.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's why that movie's so good and the poster is so brilliant, even though they're not really connected in terms of like taking an image from the movie or taking something that was designed for the film and putting it onto the poster.
Yeah. Speaking of posters, this episode, of course, is brought to you by movieposters.com. Use our coupon code Raiders10 at movieposters.com for 10% off your order, as well as our affiliate link to get us a little extra commission. Help your movie daddies out and get your posters at movieposters.com.
Anthony, where can people find the affiliate link?
On the links in our bio on Instagram.
Yeah, there we go. Or the description of this episode.
Yeah, the description of this episode. That's it. I'm learning.
So you can get your alien movie poster and just stare at it.
Stare at the egg.
Hours.
Stare at the
and realize it's not the same egg as from the film.
So we both love Terrence Malick, right?
Yeah.
The filmmaker.
Great
Tree
guy.
of Life, Thin Red Line, Days of Heaven. Great guy.
Great director.
Badlands, To the Wonder. Incredible filmmaker. One of a kind. The New World. He has a new film that he's been editing for 6 years.
Wait, what?
So he made this film, The Way of the Wind, with Matthias Schoenaerts, the French act. I think he's French, as well as a cast of international actors. It's a Jesus movie that he shot 6 years ago, and he's been in the edit room for it since then.
What?
They apparently showed the first version of it to a test audience. It was screened publicly. Nobody can talk about it, but The Way the Wind was screened, and Terrence Malick is still editing the film. So he is notorious for editing his films for years. He spent years on the Thin Red Line. He spent years editing The Tree of Life. I think he spent like 5 years editing The Tree of Life, getting it ready, and many of his other films, Days of Heaven. But ever since he's become like the legendary mythical. I think Malick's kind of a mythical kind of figure in the world of cinema.
He's like a unicorn.
There's like 2 photos of the guy online. He doesn't do any press. He doesn't do any interviews. And his films are really one of a kind. He is the abstract artist of our day. Him and David Lynch, very similar filmmakers, but different ideas. But they're both surrealist and abstract. Lynch is more surrealist, but Malick's very spiritual and very abstract in his writing and his filmmaking and what he's doing. His movies, especially his more recent ones after his 70s work, and he started delving into it in The Thin Red Line, the big war film he made with the huge cast like Jim Caviezel, Adrian Brody, George Clooney, Sean Penn. Amazing war film if you haven't seen The Thin Red Line. Score by Hans Zimmer is sick, but that's really when he started experimenting with changing the trajectory of the story and not making it really a set narrative, but exploring ideas in a different way. And then since then, he's been doing that with all of his films like The Tree of Life, To the Wonder, his other work. But he spent so much time in the editing room, and he spent 6 years on The Way of the Wind, and apparently it's still not even close to being ready.
So I had no idea about this. Matthias, he's Belgian. He's
Belgian.
bullhead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Close enough. I was close.
I wasn't going to interrupt
They
you.
speak
but
French in Belgium.
Do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's why the Dardenne brothers make so many movies in the French language.
Ah, okay. So it's a multi-language country, I guess.
Yeah. It's a big, popular.
Yeah, but Matthias Schoenaerts is such a talented actor. Bullhead is the first movie I think Anthony ever showed me that he was ever in.
Oh, yeah, this is Breakout.
He's had a couple Hollywood movies he's been in, but he hasn't quite broken out, I think, in the States as like a household name, obviously, or a face. You've probably seen him in some stuff. He's an incredible actor, and so I just looked it up, and so he's going to play Peter.
Okay.
He's playing Peter, and Peter had a close relationship with Jesus. He was his closest disciple. He's also known for he lost faith and turned down Jesus, but then he eventually repented and restored his faith. So I wonder if that's going to be the journey for Peter throughout this film. If he's the main character, Mark Rylance is playing Satan.
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
Crazy.
That's pretty cool. We're gonna have a physical interpretation of Satan on here.
Great actor for it.
John Rhys Davies is Uriah, the chief elder. No idea who the character is, but John Rhys Davies is awesome. Obviously, that's Gimli. Ben Kingsley is in this. Joseph Fiennes is in this. This cast is really, really good.
And there's one image released of the film, and it's an image of Sean Hart's and the other actor playing Jesus. I think he's an Arab actor. Or he could. I can't remember where he's from. And it looks incredible. It's just a great shot. Malick likes to still shoot on film, for the most part, and so his cinematography's always been second to none. His work with Emmanuel Lubezki, which started in Tree of Life, and they've collaborated on nearly every film since then. They really have paved the way for a new kind of filming that so many people have tried to duplicate. But the one shot they have is really interesting. I just think Malick, no matter what he does, he's a filmmaker who's just so fascinating. His films are so different, and there's really nothing like them. And a lot of people hate them. A lot of people don't understand them. And you're not really meant to always understand it on your first watch. But they're kind of like spiritual experiences, and in a way, he is like, when you look at like painters, he's not painting a photorealistic painting of something. He's painting an abstract painting. That's
of life.
Yeah, of life. That's who he is. That's what he is as a writer and filmmaker. And I think he's always just been one of the most interesting filmmakers. And whenever one of his movies comes out, I think it's special. His last film about the conscientious objector in Austria, The Hidden Life, was fantastic. That was the last film.
The guy from Inglourious Basterds in the bar scene plays
the
the colonel,
yeah,
I think. Yeah,
the Three Fingers guy who recognizes it. He's the lead in A Hidden Life. And I remember I saw A Hidden Life in theaters, and it's a Malick movie.
So you cried?
No, I did cry, but the guy next to me, every 15 minutes, he would just go like...
What was he expecting?
Like, he was just like... It's like, dude.
Was he bored?
Yeah,
like
bored. You could tell. It was like, dude, it's a Terrence Malick movie. What are you expecting?
2.5 hours of meditation on life. That's what movies are.
Yeah, that's what he does. It's like, dude, know what you signed up for. No, I understand, like, when we saw Tree of Life in theaters, people walked out.
Yeah.
Because they saw the trailer. It was like, Brad Pitt. Oh,
Sean Penn.
Like, oh my God, this looks so cool. I like movies. And then they sitting into it, and 20 minutes in, it's dinosaurs, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And they walked out. But it's Terrence Malick. You know, he's a filmmaker where you just have to sit down and let the film happen.
It's like being anti-gun and going to see a John Wick film. It doesn't make any sense. You should know what you're getting into.
Yeah, know what you're getting into. Just sit back, relax, and it's just, let it happen. He's a one of a kind.
Quick premise of the movie. So The
hear
Way
it.
of the Wind retells and chronicles several episodes in the life story of Jesus through several parables. A subplot revealed by Roaring concerns Jesus not wanting St. Peter, one of his disciples, to partake in the political movement to fight Roman occupation. Jordan Ropp of the film stage said there are no scenes of Jesus performing miracles, making for a rather grounded approach, obviously, because that's Terrence Malick's bread and butter. Mark Rylance, who plays Satan, said Satan has more dialogue than Jesus in scenes featuring the two. Satan and Jesus. Do you want to hear a crazy fact? Or let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed in The Lord of the Rings where Gandalf stores his pipe?
He stores it in his sleeve.
No, he does not.
His pipe, he stores it in his hat.
So, on his staff is a slot that his pipe slides right into.
No.
And so there's so many great images of Ian McKellen as Gandalf, stills from the movie on set, where the pipe actually fits perfectly inside of his curved staff. And so this is when he's Gandalf the Grey. His pipe, he stores it on the top of his staff.
I gotta see this.
So it's always just there. There's some shots where it's missing. I think that's just like a prop thing. Maybe a prop error. But
oh my
tons
God.
of shots, his smoking pipe is literally inside of his staff, just sticking out.
Oh my God, it's right there.
It blends in so well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh my, the tip of his staff is a pipe.
Isn't that so cool?
I'm never not gonna unsee that now.
I know.
Wow. Holy shit.
Just a great attention to detail. I can't remember in the books if that's where he stores it, but it just makes sense. It works.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Oh my God.
I know, isn't that fun?
I love it.
Back-to-back stories with Lord of the Rings-esque characters.
So I saw this video about, so you know, like the fake AI movie trailers with the crazy insane thumbnails.
Yeah, it'll be like there's a movie announced and it'll be
Like The Rock and Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
Is like,
or like when Superman got announced, there's like they're trailers for Superman, but they're not really trailers.
Yeah,
they're mashups of his other movies.
I never watched them because I'm just like, I don't even want to give it a click. But the thumbnails, I mean, look, the thumbnails are so eye-catching, and so like you can't blame people for clicking on them. And then there's got to be people who think it's real. Some people do think it's real.
It's like when people get that USPS text that your package hasn't arrived. We need your information. And some people respond.
Yeah, and there are people who aren't like film experts, and they see a thumbnail for a movie trailer, and they probably think it's legit. But so I saw this video about one of the guys who runs one of these channels. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like one of the big ones, and they make AI generated movie trailers for like upcoming films.
And so are you talking about the trailers where everything is AI generated,
Yes.
or is it like a splice up of, let's say it's a Superman?
Not a fake trailer.
Okay,
an AI trailer.
So not like a Superman fake trailer where someone's cutting
I
up
hate those.
cutting up Corn Sweat scenes from other movies where he's wearing a suit
so
and glasses
dumb.
and this is the Superman.
But people buy it. People in the
watch
comments, people are like, "Oh, I can't wait for this," and I'm like, Those are different movies. Those are scenes from other movies, but people believe it. And then there are people who clearly believe the AI trailers. But so the guy who runs one of these accounts, he did an interview because he said that, think about this. He's like, I'm using copywritten material owned by these companies. I should be getting flagged and taken down for when I post these, but the studios never call out the copyright because they take in a profit percentage of the clicks that he gets. Yeah. So studios are actually making money off of the AI trailers and getting a portion of the profits on those views on YouTube.
Yeah, copyright on YouTube's odd, but I also saw literally this week as well that studios are insisting YouTube send them all of the money that these trailers are generating now, because I think they're probably generating too much profit compared to what they should be making, but also it's hurting your brand at the same time.
They're clamping down on content creators on YouTube and TikTok who are using too much footage, because there are people who do like the, what do you call it, like when you're watching it while it's playing?
Like a reaction.
Reaction, thank you. I'm just, sorry.
Yeah.
A reaction video.
Words are hard.
But they're basically saying you're playing the movie. You're not playing a clip or something or a bit. Like you're playing the whole thing. So they're starting to clamp down on that hard.
So you can't play the whole thing. Usually those reviews where it's like first time watching Game of Thrones or first time watching Armageddon, there are entire channels and people that do that. That's what they do. And at most you can get away with about 20 to 30 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you still have to cut it up. You also have to do tricky things. Some people will reverse the image so that the copyright doesn't pick up on it, as well as you can put it in black and white. So you can do things to alter the image to get away with without copyright strikes. But at the same time, I understand the studio perspective. They're playing the entire movie. Yeah. Or like not the entire movie. You're playing like 30% of your movie on YouTube.
Yeah. So they're basically saying for stuff like that, you're still playing too much of our content. So this is illegal. So I get that. And then people who do like just voiceover videos, playing footage from films, they're also getting hit hard too.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things that it was inevitable that the studios would want to do this at the same time as I hope those people diversified their content so that they're not just reliant on that.
It's basically like kind of like selling bootleg VHS on the street.
Kind of, yeah. Except high quality.
in a way.
Sometimes it's 4K.
In a way. Remember those?
Oh, man, I remember those.
I just picked up a great set of physicals.
What'd you get?
At Barnes & Noble. They had great deals.
Barnes & Noble usually does have really good deals.
So
for Blu-rays and DVDs.
I got 6 movies for $40.
What'd you get?
I got a Blu-ray of Good Will Hunting. And then I got Goodfellas DVD, The Great Escape DVD, Shutter Island, Silence of the Lambs, and Training Day.
I thought we already had Shutter Island.
Do we? Oh, shit, we do.
I think we do have Shutter Island.
Yes, we do.
Did you just on Amazon? Or, I mean, online?
No, I was at Barnes & Noble.
Oh, I thought you were, like, looking up your order.
I took a photo of it.
Oh, you did?
We do have Shutter Island. Fuck!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have a
God damn
Shutter Island Blu-ray.
We do. Oh, my God.
Anyways, we have 2 copies now. Now we have 2 copies.
But I got only the Good Will Hunting was a Blu-ray, but the rest were Great Escape was $4. Goodfellas was $4.99. Silence of the Lambs was $9, but I was like,
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. Shutter Island was $3.
That's kind of a no-brainer, even if you have a copy.
Yeah, it was it was it was dropped down to a special price of $4.99 and then 30% off, so $3. And then Train Day was $4.
I mean, this is the time I think to start buying physical media if you've been out of the game and you haven't really, because it's not selling and it's stuck on. And these
throwing it away.
Stores have so much of it. There's so much stock.
They shook my hand for buying it.
They have so much inventory of Blu-rays, of DVDs, even VHSs you can find for $1 at specific stores. We have all these VHSs that we found at these thrift stores.
Yeah.
And I think that if you want to get into physical media, now is the time, because eventually they're going to run out at some point. But not a lot of people are buying up physical media right now because everyone's just streaming everything or digital downloads. And you do get a digital download when you buy a Blu-ray, which I think is really cool. So you can have both options if you
Remember
want.
when we didn't even use it back in the day?
I still don't.
We'd be like, I don't need a digital download.
Like,
what?
fuck this HD digital download.
What is it? Fuck this. I have the movie. How things change.
And I understand not everyone wants to buy physical media and have to have it take up space in your house. You know, you have to have a shelf or something. You got to store them somewhere if you have a whole collection of them. Some people, it's one of their favorite things to show off in their homes. And they love to show people, and people get impressed by their collection. It's part of the things they do. But it's so cheap right now for a lot of stuff. But then you'll still see new releases at Target, Blu-ray release of like Borderline, and it's $49.99. It's like, who's buying that? Nobody's buying that.
You didn't buy Borderlands?
Borderlands, sorry, for $49.99. I did
not. That was at Barnes & Noble for $39.
Who's buying that?
Buying that?
Who is buying that?
You guys, face facts, just drop the price down to $10. Maybe someone will buy it.
Because it's not like it's costing a lot of money to make these Blu-rays, especially because they're so skimpy with what they give you. I mean, sometimes you get a cool steel box, but steel boxes are completely different. But the average Blu-ray, you don't even get a booklet anymore.
Nothing.
You just get one disc. You don't get a special features disc. You don't get
They have 2
anything.
special features on it.
They give you just that little postcard that has the digital download. That's it. And so there's nothing. I used to love getting a DVD because it had the booklet. You had a little, it was like a CD case.
It's the best.
Sometimes there's a poster in there, and it's really fun. And sometimes the cases are really intricate or involved with the story or the plot or some motif in the film. Like our Memento one is really cool. It's a medical file. It's really fascinating. You can explore. You can read files and all the information from the movie. But now it's just, here's this flimsy case with one little card and one disc. There you go, $40.
You have to wait for the special edition release, anniversary release, 4K release,
Criterion,
or the Steelbook release for a film to get like the bonus stuff. And we're talking like the booklets and like, so for example, the Silence of the Lambs one, it is a collector's edition DVD set. So it has a second disc that has all the special features on it. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the DVD, it's not like the Blu-ray that you get now and has like 2 things you can see for special features. It has a whole disc. That's why I got it too. I was like, ooh, I'm getting this special edition. But also like modern TVs, like the one I have in my room, it upscales the DVD. Obviously not the best quality, but the TV upscales it and makes it look actually pretty good. I gotta say,
yeah, it always does.
It looks good. It doesn't look like if you watch it on an old TV, it's gonna look like pretty bad. But on my TV, DVD look really good.
Yeah,
I guess
plus you're 15 feet away from it, not even.
Yeah. So I'm not.
You're
I don't
8
see
feet
the
away.
pixels. Yeah,
so it's fine.
It's great. Yeah,
it's good enough.
It works.
Well, I mean, when you think back about the quality of television that we were so accustomed to in our youth, that we don't realize it wasn't even standard def. It wasn't even 720p.
It was so
and we
low.
had no idea.
It was like 480, 640.
But we accepted it, and we were used to it. That's what we were used to. That was just, your brain was fine with it.
Yeah.
And now it's, I need the 4K or else I can't watch it.
It needs to look like it's in my room.
It needs to look like
I need this football
theater.
player to look like he's standing right there.
And I think that's one of the reasons why, movies were so king for so many years, because the quality was absurd. The quality at home now is so incredible. Yeah. I mean, some of these TVs, like if you get like a Sony Bravia, 8K, absurd quality of television and entertainment, plus a good sound system. My God, like I get you don't have to leave your home to have a great experience anymore.
Just wait for VR.
I know, VR. I mean, you can VR watch movies now.
Yeah.
You can put it on the headset, and it's like
you can do that,
it's like you're
yeah.
at a movie theater.
Yeah.
I understand that perspective and want to do that too, because you don't have to go anywhere, and you can move anywhere you want. You got the freaking thing on your face, but I would get uncomfortable if I had to wear that the whole time.
Yeah, no way. But TV actually was the first killer of the film industry when TV became popular. So movies were like movies were booming in the 30s and 40s, like booming. And then when TVs started being distributed, and within a 10-year period, it went from households. It was like 100,000 households had TVs, and 10 years later, it was like 5 million households had TVs. And so people just, they didn't go to the movies as much as they used to, because going to the movies was the best. It was the only really way to like see a show on a screen for most people, and it was unbelievable. So people went all the time. That's why like movies like Gone with the Wind and things like that, they sold so many tickets because people would see it often over and over again, in Casablanca and stuff like that. But when TV came out, it really took a huge chunk out of the pie that the film industry had.
I think that, but also the cost right now is too much.
Yeah.
The cost, because movies were always the poor man's show. Pretty much anyone could afford to go to the movie theaters for several decades.
Yeah. As
Ticket,
opposed to like the opera.
yeah,
you mean?
opposed to a theater or
Yeah.
the opera, which was expensive. Upper class people, but mid class, lower class people could afford to go to the theater, go to the movie theater to see a movie, get some popcorn and soda for the kids. Cost you like $5 in like 1970.
Get a Coke Zero.
Yeah, and get a Coke Zero in 1960. But it was cheap, and everyone could do it. And that's why also ticket sales were so booming. And people were seeing movies. Oh, I'll pay $1 again to see this great movie. But I think in addition, we always talk about the streaming killing movie theaters and studios wanting to do streamers, but also ticket prices are killing theaters as well. I mean,
tough.
people don't want to go to the theaters if it's costing you $20 just for a ticket, and you don't have stubs.
It's everything though.
Yeah,
Everything's expensive now.
yeah. No, we talk about it too much.
Everything's expensive. Yeah.
But it did used to be very affordable to go to the cinema and go see a movie, but it's just changed so much. It's almost like going to an amusement park now, or going to a sports game, probably, where in terms of the concessions prices.
They didn't have AMC stubs in the 40s.
No.
You know what I saw last night?
What?
I saw Princess Mononoke in IMAX.
Oh, is it still in theaters?
Yeah.
Maybe I
Packed.
should see that tonight.
Packed.
I'm gonna look up.
You might not
tickets
be able
right
to find a seat,
now. I'm
bro.
gonna look at it's Monday, so
I
I
doubt
can go
you'll
in
be
the
able to find.
afternoon.
Maybe. It was fantastic. In a big IMAX screen, I was second row, and it was like awesome. It was like I was so immersed in it. I think it's honestly, it might be my favorite animated film of all time. Now that I've seen it, this is the third time I've seen it. Obviously, the first time I've seen it in theaters, but seeing it in IMAX was exceptional. And all of Miyazaki's films are great. I think this one is because it's so mature, and it has a surprising amount of darkness to it, and gore and disturbing imagery. So it's a film that someone like me can really enjoy, because it has a lot of grittiness to it, but it's so incredible, the world building and the fantastical elements and the creatures and the design of the world, the ideas. It's a really perfect story. It's a fantastic film. I was seeing it in IMAX was really mind blowing, because it's like when you're watching it and in the different animation cells, obviously the animated cells, when you can always see the difference in the separation of when when a character is it's a different kind of animation from the background.
Sure, yeah.
And the backgrounds are these huge gigantic paintings that they make. And then the animation cells of characters are laced on top of that. That's how it's done in 2D. And just the backgrounds, it's just like watching. It's like you're watching like a beautiful painting moving, and seeing it in IMAX, it was just unbelievable. And it looked great in IMAX. It looked fantastic. I was really blown away by it. It was really, really stunning.
I'm getting tickets ASAP because I haven't seen it in a while. I probably saw it last time like maybe 8-10 years ago, something like that. But I always was drawn to the animation, and specifically, I love the environments. There seem to be, even though it's 2D, there seems to be impossible textures created. Like the blood on her face, the splatters, the clouds in the sky. It looks like you can almost see 3D versions of them, even though it's 2D painted and drawn. It just looks so incredible, so much detail, so much depth in the imagery. It really is beautiful animation, and I thought it was always spectacular.
And Billy Bob's in it.
Oh, he's
He's a character in it.
All right, I gotta check this out.
Billy Crudup is playing the lead, Ashitaka, and then Princes Mononoke is voiced by Claire Danes.
Oh, okay.
In 1997, they were young.
Claire Danes is big, yeah.
Yeah, and but they do the dubbed version for this release. They didn't do the sub.
Yeah, I mean that's usually what they do here
Yeah.
in America. I wonder if I can find a sub version.
I'm not sure. I didn't see any.
But usually the English dubs in Miyazaki's films are always good.
Yeah,
You know,
good.
they always get good cast. I mean,
Christian Bale's in one.
Christian Bale's in two of them.
Yeah, two of them. Yeah.
Pattinson's it was in Boy and the Heron with the most ridiculous character ever. It was,
I haven't seen that one.
oh, you haven't seen Boy and the Heron?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, bro, you gotta
watch
watch that.
I'll rent it.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it really is. But all right, I definitely want to see Princess Mononoke ASAP.
And also, I was like watching, and I was like, a lot of big films have borrowed from what he did in the story. Like a lot of things were borrowed. Like you see, it definitely inspired like the big fantasy boom. Not Tolkien, but like the other ones.
Oh, 100%. And it's just to go back to the price of everything. The same thing's happening in Hollywood, where the price of making movies is just absurd here. And I was watching this interview with Adam Scott and Rob Lowe.
It's Rob Lowe's podcast.
Okay, it's his podcast. Gotcha. They were talking about if they were shooting Parks and Rec today, which they shot 15 years ago, they'd be doing it in Budapest because it's cheaper to fly out your entire American crew to Budapest or Hungary, wherever. Or Budapest isn't Hungary. To Budapest, put them up for months on end, half a year, put them up, do all your pre-production there, build your sets, shoot there, than it is to literally go across the street to the sound stages that the studio owns and film there, where everyone lives in LA. Your crew lives here. It's cheaper to do all of that and move everyone to a different country than it is to actually shoot in Los Angeles.
It's terrible. It's absolutely awful.
Insane.
And that's on top of that. So all the strikes that happened last year delayed everything, and then on top of that, it got so expensive that studios are choosing to produce outside of the country. London is booming. The UK is huge for productions now, and even Atlanta. People are going away from Atlanta. I mean, Marvel and Disney's building their new Marvel Studios foundation in the UK,
And they've been shooting everything in London.
Yeah.
They did the entire Fantastic Four movie in
they're
London.
not even doing Atlanta anymore. They're doing London now, and and on top of that, like you got Star Wars. They're shooting in London, in England, at Leavesden. You know what I mean? Bond's gonna shoot in Leavesden.
Pedro Pascal basically lives in London now.
Yeah, Harry Potter. Leavesden, studios in London.
Yeah, but that's always been.
It's always been there. But I'm talking like even the most valuable IPs, the biggest productions, they're shooting out there, and it's just absurd. It's really sad because it's a combination of so many things. It's both government mismanagement, intense regulation. The regulations in California are absurd for anything, any industry, and just for being here. Just for living here, the regulation. It's the most regulated state in the country, and most of it's just BS, and it prevents people from really being able to work freely, and especially business owners, small business owners, or large business owners, to operate in a way that they could usually operate just 5 years ago, and that's why so many companies have left California to go to other states where they have more freedom in terms of operations and less taxes, less regulations. And then you look at Hollywood outsourcing so many of their productions to different countries. It's not good for California.
It's not just physical jobs. It's also on-set jobs. It's visual effects too.
Yeah.
That's getting shipped out as well.
Yeah.
And it's not just Budapest and Hungary and London, Canada. I mean, Last of Us films in Canada. They film in Vancouver and Ontario, I think. And I mean, Toronto's huge for filmmaking as well. And so the ironic thing with California is that it costs so much to have your businesses here, which causes businesses to leave elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then the prices for taxes go back up to pay for all the billions in taxes they lose from these businesses.
Yeah.
And then it's a vicious circle of everything getting more and more expensive that just keeps happening year after year after year. More businesses leave, taxes get increased. More businesses leave, taxes get increased. So it's why would you want to shoot here if you have a business? But it's just absurd. It's cheaper to literally fly 300 people, 100 people to a different country to shoot your show than to walk across the street. Everyone can drive to work in the morning from their homes
crazy.
It's cheaper to go to a different country.
We need to bring Arnold back as governor.
I wouldn't do anything.
He could save us.
How?
Because he's Arnold.
You're just gonna flex?
No, he's going to deregulate everything.
It's just insane. I think it's just too far gone. I mean, it's either that or the studios just have to suck it up and take the hit, but I don't think studios are going to do that.
Well, so the DGA president, she said at a conference the other day, so the DGA president basically said, productions, studios, we need to bring everything back to Hollywood, even though it's going to be more expensive. We owe it to Hollywood to prevent it from falling apart and disappearing. We have to bring our productions back to California, even if it means you're taking a hit.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
though.
but that's not. I mean, it's a big corporation's going to be like, no, if we save $10 million on this, we're going to shoot it in London.
Because people who run studios for the last 30 years, we've talked about this a few episodes ago. Great lovers of art used to run these studios, but now it's business people running the studios.
But on top, I mean, the show also shows that it's like, even someone who loves cinema, they're making choices they don't want to make.
Exactly. It's all about protecting your job. That's the thing with Hollywood, is it's all about, especially if you get to that executive level, of not losing your job. You'll do anything to not lose your job.
It's like a politician.
And so you'll make bad decisions, or you'll make decisions that make bad movies because it might increase your profit. It's literally like having a company on the stocks on the stock exchange. I don't know anything about business.
I got it on the stocks.
It's like having a public company. It's like you're the CEO of a public company, right?
Yeah.
You don't want your stocks to drop, and so you have to consistently try to just make money versus making great films. And that's been like that for 20 years now. And this is where we are. Where it's so expensive to shoot here now, and no one wants to do it, and no one wants to lose their job, so they're making all these decisions. Oh, we'll just increase profitability no matter what. So we're not going to shoot in Los Angeles because we're going to lose tax deductions. If we go to this other country over here, we'll save $10, $15 million on our movie if we shoot in Hungary. So from their perspective, they don't want to lose their job, so they're just going to keep shooting where it's cheapest.
Yeah, that's just business.
They're going to make – it's so ironic where Hollywood isn't really where a ton of movies are getting made anymore. Of course, movies still shoot here. A lot of shows still shoot here. But ironically, even though it's the face of cinema is Hollywood – everything's being shot around the world everywhere else.
It was probably inevitable in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, that was going to become an international, more of an international infrastructure for producing films and TV.
Yeah, but it could have been protected better.
It could have been.
The state could have protected it
Absolutely.
better.
It's number one industry.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It is the heart of Los Angeles is Hollywood.
Yeah.
It always has been. In the movie industry is why people came here, why people moved here in the first place.
I moved here for gold digging. I'm still haven't found it. I've been digging.
I think you're a little late to that.
I've been digging.
So I guess you could say it was inevitable, but it still could have stayed here. I mean, you still could have built state-of-the-art studios, and not that they don't, but you still could have preserved production being in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I agree.
It sucks. It sucks because you want to see the movies still be made here, but at the end of the day, it's a business now. It always has been, but it's all that really matters.
It's not personal. It's strictly business.
Strictly business.
Godfather.
All right, how about we run to our intermission?
Oh, yes.
We'll read out a review, check out some unsubscribes, and then we'll get back to the rest of our movie chats. Now, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost Podcast is to become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. You get access to weekly bonus episodes of the show. For example, if you're a patron member in the right tiers, you could listen to our new Severance episode that just posted on Monday, ad-free. Just like this episode, you could listen to ad-free without the commercial breaks. You get access to weekly bonus episodes, as well as access to our Discord for as little as $10 for an entire year for an annual membership in the lowest tier. You can become a member of our Patreon. There are 5 different tiers. Find out which is best for your budget. Not to mention, another great way to support the show is leaving those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. This is so important to our show. Podcasts, the lifeblood of them is the audience, and audience perception is in the ratings, and that's what gets new viewers to get enticed to give us a shot. They might stumble on us on their feed. We get their impressions, but are they going to click on it? It depends on if they like what they're seeing in the reviews with amount of ratings and reviews. Leave written reviews on Apple Podcasts. I'll read one out in just a minute. Subscribe on YouTube, don't forget. And also, share us with your family and friends. Word of mouth is the best way for a podcast to grow. Share our Instagram reels, our posts, our TikTok videos, like on everything we post, like our YouTube videos, subscribing, comments, engagement is really important. Share our episodes with your family and friends. That's how we get bigger and better every year.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your order right now. They have a huge selection of pretty much every film and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs, just like that backlit poster behind James, which looks so fire.
Oh, yeah, look at that thing.
They have everything from your favorite Hollywood blockbuster to your favorite Hollywood classic, international posters, as well as really cool alternate prints, and they release and distribute collaborations between cool poster artists and studios for new film poster releases. They also have, for all of the collectors out there, original prints. These are original one sheets, original half sheets, all sorts of lobby cards and movie stills, which were made in small quantity that are very valuable for your favorite classics. I got lobby cards and prints of Lawrence of Arabia, of Jaws, The Color of Money, Peeping Tom, Predator. I got this really great Predator still. There's only so many of these left in the world, so they are very valuable and only go up in value over years. So all of the collectors out there, go to movieposters.com. They have everything you can imagine as a film lover. There's no better way to express your love for cinema.
All right, let's get into our intermission, Anthony. What we got for some unsubscribes? Let's hear them.
We got Lego Elite. The boys are talking Hawktua. Resubscribe.
A pop culture thing Anthony actually knew.
Michael Newman. Movie news. No mention of the original Toxic Avenger. Unsubscribed.
We did last week.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
On the movie news episode,
when we first talked about it.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're not perfect. Next up, we have Lucas Brasi. You guys have me crying laughing this morning. James's verbose vocabulary had me about to unsubscribe, though. Yes, I had to look that word up. So you taught me a new word.
You're welcome.
So resubscribe.
Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
Bobby J. Love the podcast, guys. Listen to your episodes for the new movie recommendations. So when you guys were talking about Ryan Gosling and Blue River, I was searching for it forever on IMDb. Did you guys mean Lost River? Talk about Raiders of the Lost podcast. LOL.
Yeah, when we were talking about it, we kept saying Blue River. I'm like, that doesn't feel right. Yeah. I know River's in the title, but I should have hopped on the Google.
What is Blue River?
Is it a movie? Probably.
I think I was just thinking of Blue Valentine.
I think in my head. I think you just got mixed up.
Like I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, you're not perfect.
That's
Nobody
true.
is.
That's true.
Definitely not you though.
Meeksteez Art. The sponsor you guys got with movie posters is awesome, and knowing your favorites is nice too. So not admitting Taxi Driver is one of your favorite movie posters, and it right in the background, I must unsubscribe. I also have a huge one in my room.
Yeah, he's got an enormous one. And don't forget, we have a new affiliate link with them. It's in the descriptions of the episodes and in the link in our Instagram bio as well. That gets us 10% commission, as well as you'll get 10% off with the coupon code.
I also forgot I had the taxi one behind me.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver one right behind me.
That's the alternate one, yeah.
So, fun fact about that Taxi Driver poster. I can tell you after the intermission.
Okay, yeah.
Remind me, there's a really cool fact about the Taxi Driver poster.
I cannot wait to hear it, man.
Thanks. Benji Verdue. I can't wait for the Leo movie. Benicio's in it. The Seth Rogen show is a must-watch. You guys actually listen to the AK comment. Resubscribe. He's the one who talked about the AK RK. This one's from Michael Mann. Hey, guys. This is Michael Mann.
This is the new thing. People are going to pretend they're filmmakers.
Just like you know that I do, in fact, listen to your podcast. Many blessings.
This all started with the Russo brothers comment.
Isaiah. Sing Sing is now on Prime Video. Get on it or I'll unsubscribe. Bet. Luke. Cinema Bro Paradiso. Y'all made me laugh way too hard. Unsubscribe. Cinema Bro Paradiso. Also, Luke. Hercule Poirot, a French detective. Belgian. I keep mixing those up today.
French and Belgian twice today for you.
Y'all probably won't see this comment, but if you do, unsubscribe. That was on our Knives Out episode. Cool.
Wow.
That was an oldie.
Yeah, it was like 2022, right?
Yeah. Travis Payton. Another week of my Letterboxd top 4 not getting selected. Unsubscribed. Sorry, one day, bud. All right. ICK. No recognition of the master of mojo himself, Austin Powers, for bringing all the sexy to not one but 3 fantastic films without sex. Unsubscribed.
Good point.
You're right.
Even though there's a lot of off-camera sex, or like
there is. Yeah,
insinuated sex. Yeah.
Spoiling from not Matt the Rife. Spoiling Finding Nemo is diabolical. Unsubscribed.
I mean, it's the title.
They found him.
It's the title.
They found him.
Celebrity Finding Nemo. I know they're probably joking.
No, they aren't joking. They also said, "I'm not joking, Japes. I'm serious."
It's a lie.
That's a lie. I lied. Ace Guru on Letterboxd most watched movies. If you're looking for pretentious thoughts on what you should or should not like, this is the list for you. Unsubscribe. And that is... Oh, one more. This is the last one. Edward. Putting on a movie for my unborn child so he can have a movie experience that Anthony and James won't ever have. Can't wait to ask him how There'll Be Blood was at 3 months old. Unsubscribe. That's a good one.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
All right, we have a great 5-star written review from Cooper C. Money Benjamin. Unsubscribe in all caps. Unsubscribe. 5 stars. I love this podcast so much, and ever since I found it, I've been waiting on hand and foot for the next episode, not to mention going back and listening to the old one. Sadly, I must unsubscribe because did you say The Matrix didn't catch on the younger generation? Sir, I am 16 and The Matrix is one of my favorite movies, so there. Anthony said that. P.S.
You agreed.
P.S.
You agreed.
I may have to resubscribe because, frankly, I don't know what I'd do without y'all. Thank you for an amazing quality, professional, yet fun podcast covering all the crooks and nannies of the film world, and I'm able to look forward to every day. PPS. Can I get a phenomenal? Oh my God, Cooper C. Money, Benjamin. What a review.
What a name.
So many inside jokes in
what
there.
a great name.
I know. C. Money. It's a good name. Really appreciate that 5-star written review that you left on Apple Podcasts. You have been immortalized forever, sir, on this podcast. We're so glad you found us.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I love that you're waiting for every new episode.
Great favorite movie at 16 too.
Yeah,
you know your stuff.
One of his favorite movies.
One of his favorites.
Yeah, and I love how you're waiting on every episode. So if you're also waiting on new episodes, hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when new episodes drop. Everybody on YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
Yeah,
that's the best way to do it. All right, Anthony. Shall we get back into this information about this taxi driver poster that you teased?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Let's talk about it.
I'm curious.
So this is an iconic poster. It's Travis Bickle walking through the street of New York City,
hands in his pockets.
Iconic. It's the simplicity of it. So they were trying to work on the poster, and they had a bunch of different mock-ups for like a traditional looking like movie poster, but they weren't happy with any of them. I didn't really feel like none of the posters quite gelled. And you can actually see them online.
But this is also an alternate, right?
No, this is the one they used for distribution. This is the original.
I thought they used the yellow taxi one.
That was another one that they made. But this was the main one they used.
That was the main poster. All right.
So what happened was it was just a still photo that the still photographer had taken on set, and they mocked it up and really liked it. And Scorsese and the team were like, "Yeah, this works great," and it really perfectly captures like in a way this image of Travis Bickle head down. He looks very troubled, and then behind him, you know, it's the grimy streets of New York City in the '70s, adult movie show, storefronts. It's just not a great place at that time, and in a way, it's a perfect image for what's happening in his mind, and also a main theme of the film. Whereas the other posters were just like, it's a poster for the movie. It's him in front of a cab. That's like, oh, taxi driver. But this image, also being black and white, it really was a special connection to what the movie is, and so they went with that for the main poster.
I think it works so well. I never knew that was their main poster.
Yeah,
I always thought that was just a cool alternate.
No, yeah, it's the original poster.
It's a cool fact, Anthony. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Did you know that Duncan Jones has finished wrapped filming his new movie?
He's made a new movie?
Yeah, so it's based off a comic strip.
I didn't know that.
It's called Rogue Trooper.
It's a sci-fi?
So it's a sci-fi science fiction. Yeah, it's a science fiction film. He wrote and directed it and produced it based off a comic strip of the same name. And it's going to star pretty good cast. Sean Bean's in it, Matt Berry, Asa Butterfield, Jermaine Clement, Haley Otwell, and Yaron Bernard is the main character as...
Haley Atwell?
Yeah, Haley Atwell. as the rogue trooper. I don't know much about it, but
What's the budget on it? Does it say?
the budget on it, I can't find it right now.
The Rogue Trooper.
Yeah, I just found out that had finished filming this like a week ago, and I was just so curious because I love Duncan Jones's movies because you watched Moon, so I was like, what's Duncan Jones been working on lately? Because obviously Source Code's an awesome movie of his that's very underrated, I think.
It's great.
I think the Dungeons and Dragons movie probably set him back with audiences. I mean, I never saw it. But
It's Warcraft.
Was it? Yeah. What did I say?
I said
Dungeons.
World of
Sorry,
Warcraft.
the World of Warcraft movie. I know that didn't perform very well, and people were mixed on it. He made a Netflix movie after that, and I was just curious what he's been working on, and that's what he's doing. He's doing a movie called Rogue Trooper. Comes out this year in 2025.
Wow. Was Warcraft his last film?
No, he made Mute, which was a Netflix movie.
I thought Mute was before.
No, Mute was 2018, and then Warcraft was 2016.
Warcraft was that long
Yeah,
ago?
source code's 2011.
Oh my god.
So there's I believe that's the big. He's got a 7-year gap.
Warcraft
in
was
films.
almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, man. That's a long
Jesus
time ago.
Christ! I feel like that movie just came out a few years ago.
And so he hasn't made a movie since Mute in 2018. He hasn't come out with a film.
Wow. But I mean, Warcraft made decent money. It made $480 million.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
That's a good amount of money.
$440 million on a $160 million budget.
Also, it probably just broke green.
It probably made profit.
Yeah, but yeah, then he made a movie for Netflix called Mute.
Mute was so
Alexander Skarsgård.
I really like Duncan Jones. Mute was really not very good.
I never saw it.
It's actually set in the same world as Moon.
Okay, I remember hearing about that. Yeah,
and Skarsgård plays a mute protagonist. He like works at a bar, and then he gets on this criminal seedy adventure.
Wait, Skarsgård plays a mute character, and then 4 years later, his brother plays a mute character.
What was the mute character?
Bill Skarsgård, the action movie that he did last year.
Oh, Boy Kills World.
Yeah,
they both play mute people.
Yeah,
I guess so. But and Paul Rudd plays like this charismatic. He's like a tech guy of some kind. Got these big mutton chops and a great character design. The story was just like it didn't work, and it was really I was really looking forward to it, but it didn't. I didn't gel with it at all, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't end up seeing it, but I remember it was coming out.
Yeah, it was tough. But he's a really interesting director.
Yeah, I think he makes really cool movies. I mean, Moon and Source Code for me are just awesome.
I love Source Code.
Awesome science fiction films, like top 100 of the century science fiction films.
Yeah,
for me. Both of them.
Yeah, Source Code is really good. I really like that movie. Jake's awesome in that film. He's the man.
Yeah, so that's cool. Also, have you heard of the show House of David? Sorry,
House of David.
House of David.
No,
it's an Amazon show, biblical, and AI was used to generate imagery for 73 visual effects shots. So there's over 800 visual effects shots in the show. 73 of them use AI, and it's made by Wonder, the production company. And this show is number 2 on Amazon. It's got 22 million views in, I think, its opening few episodes. And they used a ton of AI generation and software to create a bunch of imagery in it.
Oh man!
Between characters,
world
building, all kinds of different stuff. It's just one of those things where it's, this is gonna be. I think there's gonna be 2 types of production going forward: productions that use AI and productions that don't use AI. And this is, I think, a big step in that direction of productions that aren't afraid to use AI and are gonna push that technology to see where it goes. And who knows? Maybe that's the future of movies. We have no idea. But then there's always going to be productions that don't use AI. That's the path that I want to walk. And the path of the kinds of movies that I want to see are the movies created without AI. But clearly, people are into it. 22 million views.
I think a lot of people don't care.
They maybe don't care or don't know.
Yeah, I'm watching it behind the scenes.
And so from their perspective, they're able to take their concept in their movie and their show idea, which would need hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to actually get done with their vision. They're able to do it on their budget as fantastical as they want to do it.
Yeah, they're shooting the actors on green screen most of the time.
And a lot of the world building is AI. Some of the character designs are AI, like a guy with wings is AI generated. The wings are AI generated. So they're using a lot of AI on the show. But I think, like I said, there'll be 2 paths of film and television production going forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is evidence of it.
they're just, this is like scratching the surface of where the technology is going to go. But people are watching it.
There's a lot of people watching it.
22 million people are watching it.
I think the average person doesn't care.
Probably not.
And they don't even know, and they don't care. That's what it is.
Yeah. I finally saw a stage play that I've been wanting to see for a while.
What's that?
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Oh, how was it?
Saw it at the Pantages in Los Angeles last night, and it was awesome.
Okay.
It was so cool. And Cursed Child follows Harry as he grows up as an Auror head of the Department of Ministry Defense, basically like policing. And, you know, they're all grown up. Hermione's Minister of Magic. Ron is just her husband. Basically, he runs Wizard Wheezes. And it follows basically the storyline of their kids in a lot of ways, specifically Albus and then Draco's son Scorpius, as they they're living like the shadows of their fathers, especially Albus is in the shadows of his father, and he's trying to do things to not be Harry Potter's son anymore in a lot of ways. And the story's interesting. The first half, I think, was excellent with the story, and the second half is still really good. But what was really incredible and sensational was the production design, the magic on stage. It was just an incredible production. The illusions they're creating on stage, you know, people disappearing, props disappearing and changing. Like they would change wardrobe in a second. Like they'd be wearing Muggle clothes and the lights would flash, and then immediately they're wearing robes for Hogwarts. It was like this crazy wizardry on stage. The lighting was so terrific. And maybe my favorite part of the whole show was the lighting, and it was so unique, and they were traveling through time. They were doing all kinds of cool stuff. The cast was really excellent, and it was just so superb and breathtaking, and I'm really glad I finally saw it. I never wanted to read the book because I know it had mixed reviews, but I've always been interested in seeing the stage play, and it delivered, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I read it when they released the teleplay. I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what they can do on the stage now is unbelievable.
That's the real strength. Yeah. Is the production design is remarkable. Yeah. You know, they have these incredible sets, these incredible props, doors, moving staircases. Mm. The wire work was awesome. I mean, they had Dementors going up and down. They had characters flying up and flying down, people floating in the air. They had brooms, but like you couldn't see the wires.
Yeah.
And they did the up with the brooms. And yeah,
so cool.
I don't know how they did it.
So
they had
cool.
7 people on stage up, and the brooms shoot
up.
Yeah,
that's great.
They had fire shooting from wands. They had spells.
Wow.
It was so surreal and so exciting. It was very funny. It was camp. I think the storyline was solid. The characters were interesting for the most part. You know, I think a lot of IPs, when they get to the point where they're doing a prequel or a legacy reboot and you have those classic great characters, they sort of diminish them a little bit. They chisel away what we loved about them to
turn them into alcoholics who hate their lives.
Not that bad. Cursed Child wasn't like that. It was
no, because she helped write it.
Yeah. So they don't do it that bad. It's not like indie, but they do take away things that we loved about those characters. And so that they can prop up the other mains now, because the younger characters are the leads of the show, or the leads of the story. So I understand that you do that, but as someone who just loves the lore, knows it so well, I both loved it, and also sometimes I was like, I don't like that part of it. Mm-hmm. Didn't love it what they did to Ron. Ron's just like a simp for Hermione.
Yeah. I mean,
he's always been comic relief, but he's just like. He's such a simp in the play. He really is.
Poor guy.
He really is. Ron got the short end of the stick, I think.
Well, he married a very capable, intelligent person.
Yeah, but Ron, we always talk about it. He's over. They kind of ruined his character, but he's a lot more heroic than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
I love Ron, but he's just
Hermione's very overbearing and controlling. she whittled him down. She chiseled away at his confidence.
But man, just it was breathtaking production. The production was what was so incredible about it, and it was remarkable, and it's really cool. It's sort of like Man in the High Tower at times. You know, sort of alternate realities if Voldemort won, sort of thing, which was really cool. I wish they explored that a little more. But overall, if you're in Los Angeles, it's at the Pantages until June. I know you said it was playing in London for years, right?
It's just always there.
Yeah, it was just always there. But yeah, it's doing a run until the midsummer in Los Angeles at the Pantages Theater. If you're in the area and you love Harry Potter, I recommend checking it out. It's really cool.
Well, they did before that the Back to the Future that I saw in London, and that was insane. It's like an incredible adaptation of the movie, but like what they do on stage, like you're talking about the pyrotechnics and the special effects and the illusionment, like in that play, they had what's the car called?
The DeLorean?
Yeah, the DeLorean. Really, like they had it travel through time, and it was like, oh my god, it's really traveling and driving through space and time. Like the effects they built for it were unbelievable. It was so cool, and it really felt like it was driving, and the car was really there. It really felt like the car was driving through like space and time in front of you. And then at the end of Back to the Future, Doc shows up again. He's like, "Where we're going, we don't need roads." And then he's got the DeLorean, and he picks them both up. And then the DeLorean, when you watch the movie for the first time, you're like, "Oh, it's about to drive," but it lifts up into the air and flies away. You're like, "Oh my god, this movie is amazing." They did that in the play, but the DeLorean, I don't know how they did it because I could not see what was controlling it. I did not see what it was braced to, some kind of mechanical arm, some kind of robotics. I don't know. And we were sitting in the middle of the seat. We had really good seats, like middle, like maybe 15 rows back, like middle of the theater. And the DeLorean, at the end of the show, just like in the movie, it lifts up and then it flies over the audience and spins with the actors inside of it.
And what?
It flips and spins with the actors inside of it, and they're like waving to us from inside the DeLorean. I could not see what was holding the DeLorean up. And I was in a good seat, and I was like, how the fuck are they doing this? And so it wasn't like it was like on a mechanical arm and it was just like doing this. It literally spun 360. So we saw the face, the hood, the front of the car, and it spun around to the back of the car, and then it twisted. It twirled in front of us in the air. And I was like, I can't see what's operating this thing. I don't see any like holes or areas in the car that would like have a gimbal in it. I couldn't understand how it worked. And it's like some secret effect that someone created and they use in this show, but they keep it a secret. No one outside of the world of like this production and other people who have used this effect, nobody knows how it's done. It's a super secret, like some crazy gimbal technology. But I was just like, I don't know how they're doing it, but it's happening.
Damn.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I want to look this up on YouTube.
You can't film during them. You might be able to find one thing.
I'm sure someone had a camera at some point.
You might be able to, but they're very strict about phones.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to turn off your phones. They ask you to turn off your phone at plays like this versus just putting it on silent and then they do have ushers everywhere that in case you do take your phone off, they ask you to leave.
Yeah.
So they will, and they should.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone snuck it. But no, it was a cool experience. I also saw another great show recently. I went to the Cinevita, which is this amazing theater in Inglewood across from the SoFi Stadium. And it's basically it's like a giant tent. It's not a building, it's a giant, very nice tent.
Cinevita?
Yeah, Cinevita, with a beautiful play stage inside of it. And it's from, I believe they said it's a Belgian company, a Belgian family that makes this. It's just this beautiful theater that's been around for decades. And it's a giant round tent. And it was a Tarantino Pulp Rock musical.
Oh, my girlfriend saw that in London.
It's so cool. And it was so fun. And it was a live performance, live musical of Tarantino's entire filmography, except for The Hateful Eight's the only movie that wasn't mentioned. But it's a mashup of all of his movies in this hour and a half first act, and then intermission, then like 45 minutes second act. And basically, there were probably 12 or 14 cast members, half men, half women, and they all played different characters of his career in his filmography, and the play basically cross-cuts all of the stories in this really cool way. So they're constantly bouncing back and forth between, Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is sort of the base of the show, doing all the iconic moments, all the iconic scenes. One of the actors plays Vincent from Pulp Fiction. He's playing guitar and singing at the same time. Everyone's an incredible singer and an incredible actor. Lots of cool practical effects with guns and lighting. They had someone who was Jules from Pulp Fiction, and then they would play someone else from the franchise, from the world. One guy played Butch. He also played Christoph in Django, and he also played he did Butch, Christoph, and who else did he play? Someone else. And Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, this one actor. And he nailed like all of their accents so well, like switching between Bruce to Leo to Rick Dalton to Christoph, and it was really incredible. And constantly bouncing around between wardrobe and sequences, and then they'd be on stage and they'd be doing a couple minutes from Pulp Fiction, then the lights would shut off, and then they'd turn back on a few seconds later, and then they'd be doing a scene from like Kill Bill. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. The music was really great. The whole thing was probably 50-50 singing and acting. And man, it was such a fun time. They did all the iconic scenes. They did all the dialogue. They didn't pull back punches either. They were using the dialogue from the movie that offends people in real life. The specific words that we all know, that what I'm talking about with Tarantino movies, they were saying it. They were saying the lines like they're truly said in the movie and in the script. And I respect that because, that's what they're like. That's what the movies are. As well as freaking Hans Landa's in this movie, and in the show too. And they had a swastika, full wardrobe. They had perfect wardrobe for everybody. It was great. Mm-hmm. And like when that came up, when that guy was doing that character, you could feel the air in the room just like get sucked out because I feel like people don't know how to feel about that stuff these days because people get so upset about things. But I mean, that's part of history. It's part of the world. It's part of the world we live in right now. And it's part of the movie. So I respect the people who are running the show for not holding back and doing the show true to the movies, which was really refreshing and really cool to see. And I mean, it was so fun. Everyone was in the movie every movie was done except for Hateful Eight. I don't know why they didn't do Hateful Eight. Maybe it's less popular with audiences, I guess. They even did Jackie Brown for quite a bit. And the Jackie Brown stuff was so fun. Mm-hmm. But they did like so many great moments from the movies. They did the Marvin getting shot in the head. They did De Niro killing the girl in the parking lot. They did Beatrix versus Oren in the fight at the end of Kill Bill. It was so much fun. It was really cool. And they just knocked it out of the park.
For the songs, were they doing songs from the soundtrack, or did they like write songs based on what was happening in scenes?
Soundtrack.
Oh,
so
cool.
They did covers of all the soundtrack stuff.
That's awesome.
So
like surf rock for Pulp Fiction.
Yes, they did surf rock stuff. They opened up with Nancy Sinatra, Shot Me Down. At first it was Vincent, then they did Nancy Sinatra, Bang Bang. And then they did like so many great songs. They did a couple songs from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Cliff Booth showed up, was so goddamn fun. They did Cliff Booth killing his wife, which was really funny. It was just epic. But yeah, they did a bunch of songs just from the soundtracks of Tarantino's movies.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really sick.
Yeah, he went to like one of the early showings of it.
Yeah.
When they first did it. I believe it started in London.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my girlfriend had seen that there last year. She saw it there.
It's so cool. And the theater is really beautiful. It's a circle indoor theater, tent, a circular stage with hallways that extend from it. And the actors just keep coming. And then the entire circle, there's staircases all around the entire theater that the actors are going up and coming down, and they're interacting. They're running around the crowd in circles.
It's like a carnival.
Yeah, kind of. And like when, how Oren versus Beatrix, they run across that little fencing area before they do the strike, before she lops off the top of her head. The two actresses, they ran across half the circle at that part of the fight. It was really cool. The cast was so good, man. The cast was excellent, but the theater was just so beautiful. It was like it was like a time machine. Mm-hmm. It felt like a different world. And I can't recommend this enough if you're in the area to also do this in Inglewood. It was so fun. They had Tarantino-inspired food. They had like a Royale cheese, which were sliders.
Did they have the shake?
They had the shake. They had one with bourbon in it. So it was Vince's shake, and it was the shake with bourbon. Ain't got bourbon in it or nothing. They had like a pretzel. They had the dessert, the pastry from Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, the strudel from Inglourious Bastards.
I'm going to get that in Austria.
Oh, the strudel?
Yeah, strudel is like a common dessert there.
Can't wait. So they had all the food and all the drinks were inspired by the movies. I got Once Upon a Lime in Mexico, which was a margarita. And it was just so freaking fun. The theater, again, was so beautiful. It's called like the Mirror Theater. Inside this theater, there are 3,000 mirrors total.
Oh, wow.
And all the rooms inside the theater. And so it's really interesting because they're all over the walls. But it's not like a mirror room. It's very elegant, lots of wood, lots of velvets, and lots of velvet curtains. But then like little sections of mirrors everywhere. So you could kind of see if they're on stage and you're looking at a wall, you're seeing the actor from a different point of view while they're doing the dialogue and while they're doing the scene.
It makes the space feel bigger too.
Yeah, in a way, but kind of. Not necessarily that. Like, again, it's not like big panel mirrors. It's just like tiny little mirrors like this.
Oh, okay.
So little sections, like little 1 by 2 inches sections of mirrors. And it was really beautiful, very cool. It was a lot of fun. It was like if you go to Alamo where you can order food and they bring you food and you have a waiter.
That's cool. So we were talking about last week, Gyllenhaal and Denzel. They're doing Othello on Broadway right now. We just started running, and it's the most successful play ever. A lot of people wonder, like, how much do they get paid? Someone like Denzel and Jake, they probably get a percentage of the tickets, maybe. But people in theater, they don't get paid that much. Mm-hmm. They'll get paid $800 a week, $1,000 a week, if that. And then Anthony Ramos, I saw him talking on a podcast about, because he came from the theater, he came from Broadway. He was in the original Hamilton, and now he's a huge Hollywood star. He's in Twisters. He was in The Heights. He has his own Transformers movie. But he was saying that when you're on Broadway or West End or whatever, you're making like $800 a week, plus you gotta give cuts to your managers, to your agents, and then you gotta pay for rent in New York City and taxed in New York City or like whatever. And so you're getting paid. You basically walk away with hardly anything to even support yourself. So a lot of the actors who are in these plays in the West End, in Broadway, like that, even the Cursed Child show you saw, they're not even getting paid that much. And many of them actually live together because it's cheaper for them. So they actually board together to save money. But they do it because they love it. But you can obviously blow up. But someone like, I'm sure Denzel and Jake, they're getting a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of that business because it's so dependent on ticket sales.
Yeah.
And I was looking into the Cinevita and I was like going through the cast, and they all have coupon codes like in their descriptions of their Instagram bios to like coupon code. I'm sure they get a cut of ticket sales if their codes used probably for this specific theater. But yeah, I was wondering how much they get paid, and especially, theater, you're often, Wednesday to Sunday, and that's like your work week.
You do 8 shows a week.
Yeah, and you're doing oftentimes you're doing matinees and a night show. You're doing like a 2:00 and then an evening show.
But then you do rehearsal that day too.
Yeah,
every day.
So Thursday to Sunday. Then if you're doing 2 shows a day, it's a grueling job for sure. I mean, once you get the script down, I'm sure it's just like clockwork basically.
Yeah,
and you have everything down. So I'm sure the first couple of weeks are a lot of corrections. It's like if you're a live band, don't see a band in their first date of their tour, see them like halfway through their tour when they're at their best, and it's so ticket sale dependent. And I guess that's just part of the business. There's only so much money that they make when they sell tickets.
Yeah, that's why they can be expensive, especially for good seats. But it's really fun. If anyone's never been to a cool play production, I highly recommend it. As someone who had never done it until recently, it's really exciting.
And what I liked about the difference of these two shows was there was so much singing in Pulp Fiction, Pulp Rock, because that's part of the DNA of Tarantino are these soundtracks and the music. They're so iconic. And then Cursed Child, there's no singing at all, which I liked because I'm not the biggest musical fan. I respect musicals a lot, and I think in the right kind of format and the right play, I'm really into it. But there was no singing in the Cursed Child, which I was stoked about.
Yeah, there's also a contrast in sizes of production. So in the same 2-week period, I saw the Back to the Future, which is super extravagant, huge sets, crazy special effects, and costumes. Insane. It was an unbelievable adaptation of the film too. And then I saw 2 weeks before that, I saw a Matt Smith play, 4 actors, and hardly any set at all. And it was just basically a couple of simple pieces of furniture, and black walls with chalk that they would write on. That was it. And often the actors actually are the one, they don't have stagehands on set. The actors actually change the set and dress the set for every change in setting. They don't have people like crew people running around. It's the actors that do it. And they'll clean the set, they'll move stuff around, and they work like as a team, like picking up tables and stuff. And so it was really cool to see the difference between a huge production like Back to the Future to that Matt Smith one.
Cursed Child was like that with also some stagehands in the back. It's easy to hide them because everyone's a lot of people
It's
wearing
probably
robes.
because of how extravagant that was.
But like everything's so easy to move. Like there's briefcases everywhere, but then they're changing the set, and now there's moving staircases, and then they're moving that, and there's pillars everywhere. So it's really cool. But there's a ton going on in the background. What was cool is there's so much lighting effects in the show, and this is why I get so disappointed now that I've seen some great live shows, that so many movies and productions just do so much CGI because it's so easy. And just, we'll do it in CGI. You can do these great practical effects in real life, and it looks even better, and it's real magic. Like they had the Pantages stage is really big, but the rear half, oftentimes it's just blackness and shadow because that's where they're hiding a lot of people when they're moving stuff or doing specific magical props and illusions. So there'd be like the front half of the stage is lit, but then the back half is just darkness. But then sometimes it's fully lit and it's beautiful. And so they're hiding all their effects in the shadows, and it still works so well and looks really terrific. But the lighting of the show was just a different level, and it was so intricate and so detailed with the lighting. It was remarkable. But then the wire work too. I was like mouth on the floor for like 40 minutes of the show.
Yeah, they'll do that, man. The stuff you see, because it's happening in front of you. It's happening in front of you. There's no CGI.
Yeah, and then so many movies, we'll just CGI it. Like the Ochi, the Legend of Ochi.
Yeah.
People thought it was AI generated and a CGI prop, but it's a puppet. It looks so good.
You know what's so crazy is like in that clip, which it did pretty well, so a lot of comments, there are people who are saying, I don't know, it looks like it's like AI because of the lighting. And I'm just like, this is behind the scenes. What do you mean?
It's not the real footage.
This is footage of people on set doing it.
Yeah.
The lighting, they're like, their brains are being confused.
Because it looks so good.
Because AI pulls from what's been done.
But it's not just AI. I think it's just because everything's CGI.
Yeah.
People are so used to CGI. I think that's why. They're so accustomed to anytime there's going to be a creature between the years like 2005 and 2024, and now it's going to be CGI.
They might even reject the practical.
They might. Exactly. They're so accustomed.
Yeah.
Their brain's so used to CGI that when they see it real, they're like, I don't understand what this is. To them, it's like reverse Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
It's too real, it has to be CGI, versus the CGI being too real, it has to be fake.
This is why the Odyssey is so... I'm so intrigued by the Odyssey and what they're doing with the special effects on that set. I am so curious how they're doing everything and the way it's going to look. Because also you got to factor in the storms that they have to create. And then not just the Cyclops, but the other mythical monsters and beasts that are in that story.
If he's going full fantasy.
I'm just so curious how they're going to do everything, especially the water sequences, because it's pretty intense what happens. And I am just like, what are they cooking up, man? Because he's not. There's going to be CGI in it, but he's going to create so much, and that team's going to create so much that's actually in camera. And the Cyclops is just scratching the surface. That's what people are talking about because that's all that's been released about effects that are done practically. But I mean, that's just what we know because of the cave sequence. But we're talking when they're on the boats, how are they going to do all that stuff?
I'm curious, what are arrows going to look like in a Nolan verse? Is it going to be, obviously Ridley, he's done the most arrow work probably in cinema this century.
Oh, for sure. You can't think
bows and
about it,
arrows.
yeah.
So when they did Gladiator, they did a lot of real arrows, but then just a lot of cutting them off out here and putting them there. So supplementing obviously plenty of CGI arrows, but they were doing a lot of practical arrows shooting in the air and just rotoscoping and cutting them out and putting them here. So that when the opening battle sequence, if there's 1,000 arrows in the sky, they shot them just at different points.
Real arrows.
Yeah, a lot of those are real arrows.
And you got to know that Nolan, being such a huge fan of Ridley, is going to try and do everything that he loves Ridley.
Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, he said Gladiator 2 was his favorite film last year. And
My man.
Yeah, he's always been a big Ridley lover.
So I'm curious because Nolan's so obsessed with practical, what's it going to look like with a battle of people shooting arrows? If there is a sequence like that, there's got to be though.
He asked, "Is anyone willing to die?" I'm just so curious. Speaking of Ridley, I watched Blade Runner the other night.
I haven't seen it in years. I gotta watch it. I haven't seen it in like 5 years.
So I watched DVD, and it looked great. It sounded great. It's awesome. I mean, I was almost 50 years old now, and it's crazy. The visual effects, the special effects, and the lighting. He created a new style of filmmaking in terms of cinematic lighting and coloring. The movie's so blue and so stylized. His high contrast stylized lighting definitely comes from the world of noir, but he and his team and his DP and his production created this really cool blue tones. He's got this like great steel blue quality to so many of his films, especially in the 80s and 90s. Thelma and Louise is one that's like so cool and so blue and like silvery. And like he really created this new look of film that nobody had ever done before. No movie looked like that. And I'm not just talking about the visual effects. I'm talking about like how they lit it, how they colored it. It really was a new look at film. And it's so cutting edge. The visual effects still really hold up extremely well. But my God, that movie looks so good. It's one of those movies where I just watch it and it's like every shot I'm like, how did they do this? How did they do this back then? It looks unbelievable.
Forced creativity.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable.
No AI, no CGI.
Yeah. The miniatures and man, it's so interesting.
The reflections in eyes, even stuff like that.
The flames in the eyes, like how the fuck did they do that? And also the narrative, like every time I watch it, because I haven't seen it in a couple of years, like I really, the more you watch, the more you watch the film, the more you feel for Roy Batty and the other androids, and you don't want them to die because you realize that they're just trying to stay alive. They're so desperate. Because I think early watches of the film, you're like, Deckard's the hero. These androids, they're dangerous. They need to be retired, as it's called, not killed, retired. But then the more you watch it, you're like, no, they deserve to live too. They're just trying to stay alive, and that's what makes Roy Batty such a great villain, because he does terrible things, but he was born in unfair circumstances, and he's forced to be a slave. He's trying to gain his freedom and independence, and he's trying to survive, and he's trying to save the person he loves. You can't help but like root for that.
Yeah.
And so the final 10 minutes, and the movie's so cool because it's not that much action in this movie. There's the chase when he shoots the Snake Lady performer, and then there's a couple of fights. But otherwise, there's very little action. But the final 10 minutes it's the great cat and mouse between Roy and Deckard. Roy's teasing him. He's like punching through walls. He's fucking up Deckard, breaking his fingers. And Rutger Hauer just is so dynamite on screen in this film. He's unbelievable as the villain. And then it comes to the end, and we all know it's the ending where Deckard's hanging by his fingers on that ledge. He slips, and Roy Batty saves him and pulls him up. But that whole 10-minute sequence, it's like Roy Batty realized there's no way he's going to survive. He's going to die. He learned from Tyrell that it's impossible to extend his life. The coding in his system does not allow for any changes. So there's no way he's not going to live past a few more days. And so he's on this desperate moment, and it's like you think he's like this evil villain. He's maniacal. He hates humans, and he's got nothing left to live for. He has nothing to live. He's going to die soon. And he's having fun with his prey. You know what I mean? With Deckard. But then the fact that he chooses to save Deckard, it's a moment that makes the film so special. Like, he chooses to save Deckard, spare him, and then tell him about how even though he's an android, even though he's had a short lifespan, he's experienced more than Deckard ever has and ever will. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. It's really one of the great endings of all time, that you don't see coming, especially on your first watch. And then the more times you see it, you're just like thinking about like, wow, he spared him. He had no reason to. And I think Roy Batty is one of the great characters in sci-fi history.
Like tears in rain. It's great.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being born at the peak of technology, but also, you're an android. all the information in the world probably with databases. You are a physically insanely strong, but also you're going to die in 4 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have a cycle that's going to end. What kind of mindset does that create, especially once you get artificial intelligence and you start to become conscious of your being?
But I mean, I can't believe that was his third movie that he made. It's unbelievable. That was his third film.
Pretty good.
I mean, when you look
Pretty
at the
good.
scale of it, the artistry, the creativity, the filmmaking, the sets, the lighting, it's just astounding. Like, that was your third movie? Are you fucking kidding me? Your third film?
It's pretty good.
The Duelist, Alien, Blade Runner. What? It's insane. It's insane.
He's one of the goats.
Unbelievable, man.
One of the goats, man.
Unbelievable.
It's pretty good.
Man.
He's good at what he does. I love Ridley.
And yeah, it's a really great story. This is on this watch, I really was like, this really is a love story too. It really is a love story.
We've never actually covered Blade Runner in an episode before.
Oh, we should.
Maybe we should.
We should. It's a great one.
I think we should do that this spring.
Watch it soon.
Maybe April.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that this
Yeah,
April.
we'll cover it.
Before you leave.
Yeah.
We'll do like a nice long
It's April.
like 3 hour
Is today April?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, this April we'll do it.
We'll do it in April.
It's man, I can't believe that movie.
Right.
And the score is so great.
Yeah.
Everything about it, it's amazing.
So good. All right, how about we wrap up our movie chat here? Lots
do
of
it.
stuff talked about.
Yeah.
It was a good one. It was a lot of
I'm
fun.
glad you went to the theater.
Me too, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
Twice.
Pretty good. Good stuff.
It was a cool show. Cool show. Couldn't recommend it enough. Also, if you want to support us, go to patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast.
Help your movie daddies.
Use our affiliate link with movieposters.com to get us 10% commission, and then Raiders 10 to get 10% off your order. It's a win-win-win. Win for us, win for you, win for movieposters.com. Everyone wins.
It's
that
unbelievable.
affiliate link in
3
our
wins.
With that affiliate link in our coupon code, affiliate link in the description of the episode, as well as if you want to just go on our Instagram, hit that beacons.Raiders of the Lost Podcast, and that's all of our links. The affiliate link is there as well. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. And take care, everyone.
See you next time.